Hello, hello, my friends. Russell Wright from Super-Intelligent AI SEO. I've been in the search engine industry and a search engine professional for almost 25 years. Today, I'm going to discuss artificial intelligence, the March update, which you're seeing is a bloodbath for anybody who's been in the SEO industry. As I predicted 6 months ago, you would expect to see what's happening. You can see all these headlines: Google strikes back, March update, bloodbath. I've gotten phone calls today from black hat SEOs from all over the world who are crying and scared and upset because, hey, they've been spamming the living crap out of Google with artificial intelligence content, and lo and behold, the March update shows up and they're having a very difficult time. I'm going to go ahead and blow up this. Super Intelligent AI, formerly ThemeZoom from 2005. This video channel is one of my channels, but it is the oldest one. Used to be themezoom.com. ThemeZoom was a technology software that I created that was the first pre-entity or pre-knowledge graph technology to try to stack entities in order to help semantic SEO or co-occurrence or LSI, latent semantic indexing, to help you rank and manipulate the search engine. So it's good to say that I know quite a bit about manipulation of the search engines, and we're going to even cover my good friend Danny Sullivan, who we used to hang out with and drink beers with at SEO conferences in 2008. He is now the head of spam at Google, and you can see that he's left us a nice, lovely list of things that we're going to go over. Here's Danny's. Um, Oh, I remember the good old days with him. Here's must be his blog posts. I remember downloading Danny's first book that he wrote on search engine optimization when I was a phone person, a phone consultant at Land's End when I was in my 20s. That was the first search engine book I ever read. It was this thick, if you can see my camera. It was 900 pages, and I printed it off at the Land's End, a company that's not really around too much anymore, printer, so that I could read it while I was answering phone calls and customer support when in my 20s. So I've been around for a long time. So I'm only saying that not as a brag situation, but I'm saying that because the older you get, the more you can start to recognize patterns that's coming up. Now, for those of you who don't know, or those of you who are new, since we're talking about this bloodbath, right, that we see coming down, auto blogging has been around for a long time. Those of you on my team, those of you who are in the various launches that we have, the great dream of some of the plugins that I had with Network Empire and ThemeZooms from my old companies. In fact, we created a plugin called Video Kraken that did nothing but publish tens of thousands of videos every day, pulling them from YouTube, using content that we hoped was Google approved because the acquisition of YouTube. YouTube is a Google company, so we found all different kinds of ways where the increase of frequency of publish, or FOP. In fact, I think I was the one who invented that term. Frequency of publish was a real key factor, and we started teaching that almost as early as 2002, 2004. So, what does Danny have to say about what's going on? Main thing I want you guys to know is, even though I'm going over a lot of these documents, okay, I'm going to show you. Hopefully, this doesn't have a website domain in it too much. If it is, ignore it. This is what it looks like. This is one of my students. I did not help build this site. He used this site from another method. You can see that he went up, and then all of a sudden his impressions go down. Now, all kinds of things can reveal this, but I can tell you without revealing the site, almost all of the content is generated with AI, and the images are thick with artificial intelligence images. Okay. Now, if you've ever studied the work that Jimmy Kelley and I are doing, and you can learn a lot about it. Jimmy Kelley is a mentor of mine. We've been in the SEO industry. He's one of the greats. Okay, he invented terms like domain authority stacking, and he was the original 301 lens magnifying. He created the Viagra method. He created the Squidoosh method. He created the header redirect method. There's so many methods that he created that were designed to manipulate and hack the search engines that I would have a trouble putting them on a single piece of paper just to talk through them. But it's because of the work that he and I did developing the technologies that we currently have that we understand manipulation. And calling my company Super Intelligent AI, and my wife and I launching our new company, was not at all about creating auto blogging. See, we've been through the auto blogging generation. And what everybody's been doing with AI is simply more of the same. It's about publishing, instead of having content remix, or content or spin rewriter, or article forge, or all these other ways. It's just a variation of the same thing, except the content spinners have become intelligent and can actually generate content that makes sense. Language learning models are just in most people's hands another way to create autoblogs or super spam. Okay, that's not really what superintelligence is all about. Superintelligent AI was a company that Kaylin and I started because we recognized that Q star is on the way. Okay, this is why we have Q Miracle, as coined by David Mills. We have Q Local. We have Q. We enjoyed that because Q star is a real thing, which we'll be talking about in our Q AI section. You need to know what's coming so you know the distinction. One thing I will say about search engine retrieval is that search engine retrieval, or SEO, was the place where AI was trained. So what we have today, the experimentation on humans was done on the search engines. Larry and Sergey of Google have said for years they're on team robot. They're not necessarily on team human, as Elon Musk likes to say. My point to you is that natural language processing and machine learning, the birthplace of AI was Google. DeepMind was an acquisition. Built the most money ever spent by any company in the world on artificial intelligence was Google. Just because OpenAI took one of the open source papers, and Ilya Sutskever actually took that paper, took the work that he did as his graduate degree in transformers, created a language learning model. They didn't even know it would work. Just because the article printers became intelligent, it'd be like if Article Forge and all these other auto-blogging technologies suddenly could think for themselves and the intelligent content could write itself. That's how most SEOs view OpenAI and natural language learning models, just another way to auto-blog. And that's not what they are. Okay, and Google's deeper infrastructure is going to be super intelligent. What that means, as my friend Jason Bernard likes to say of Cube, is that Google, the child, is becoming the Google adolescent. And knowledge panels, knowledge graphs, even Google business profiles are a way. These are the entities that are almost like an iframe into the deeper subnets, the G-static domain where Google encrypts everything. This is a way for them to control the frame and prevent and create a massive immunity from spammers. So what's going to happen is Google the child is going to become Google the adolescent using entities and knowledge graphs. And after entities and knowledge graphs, it'll begin to become an adult, which means that Google will be able to think for itself, per se. It'll be able to filter out spam without the help of gigantic manual review spam experts. Okay, Google fired 12,000 people at the Google AdWords department. They're also reducing staff across the board. That's because the more intelligent these systems get, the less human oversight they need. Humans have to sleep. Humans require gigantic paychecks. Humans want lattes and yoga mats and sleep pods. I get it. Google has the entire culture inside of Google has completely changed towards Team Robot. I know because besides having hung out with Danny Sullivan in the early years, I'm also hearing about John Mueller attending webinars with some of the groups that I have. They don't even necessarily know. John Mueller is recently quoted as saying they haven't even rolled out the full fell swoop of the penalties that are happening. So when you see things like Bonsai Mary from Mr. Cunningham's podcast, where he publicly has been showing everybody, let me see if I can find that video. So Bonsai Mary is one of the big sites that is out there. Let me see if I can find it. And Mr. Cunningham, another SEO out there, teaches. Now he radically changed this, but these were all AI-generated contents, just like the student I showed you of mine, who everything on the site is AI. They're rapidly switching these over to mostly photographs now, as they well better. And I'm wondering if they figured out how important, how penalized they can become if they just spit out AI images all day. Okay, so when we get to the end of this talk, if you can make it through it, I'm going to reiterate what I've told people like Mike Long, David Mills, other people in my network. Jimmy and I have talked about this. I've been talking about information gain for almost 2 years, where my dearly departed friend Bill Slofsky, who has passed, who has written some of the most amazing patent back engineering in the world about SEO, he often talked about information gain. If you want to fast forward and know what we're really talking about here, information gain has to match Google's new policy, okay? So in 2022, they acquired, and if you dig through the patent thickets, you will find out that there's a significant amount of work towards information gain. Information gain is the key, guys. If you combine an understanding of information gain with the work of Jimmy Kelley and myself and what we've been doing with the technologies to optimize, and you understand super intelligent AI that is not about using lesser AI systems or language learning models to create an infinite amount of content with a, as one of my friends says, Joshua, the FOP, frequency of publish, since that's a word that we used that I think I brought up in the early 2000s, since that's such a big deal, if Google starts seeing content, okay, the rate of content being distributed massively fast, they're going to notice this stuff. Okay, so what I want you to hold in your mind is an understanding of information gain, which is the solution that I've been talking about for almost a year. Plus, we're going to look at Google's primary questions they want you to ask. Okay, when you're thinking about AI content. Nothing has changed, guys. The fact that these sites like Bonsai Mary and dozens upon dozens of other sites, Jimmy Kelley called me today. We talked about sites that have been completely de-indexed. So when I say that Bonsai Mary is gone, and it's been one I'm watching, okay, I mean it's gone from the index, okay? It's completely gone from the index in its entirety, okay? And again, Bonsai Mary came from an SEO trainer out there. I've been watching him very closely because I respect a lot of things that he was saying. And he's trying to say, oh, it's probably because it's a public thing. Somebody reported me, so on and so forth. Okay. That's not, and he's saying, okay, well, we've seen people that are not using artificial intelligence. Well, most of what we're seeing across the board is the overuse of
So
that
today
type
is
of that type of artificial intelligence combined with frequency of publish being too radically fast, okay? So this is what he found this morning when he woke up with all this hard work. And I understand what he's saying. Oh, it's probably because I have so many fans and followers, somebody reported it to Google. No, okay? I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that he alone, Mr. Cunningham, is not the only person who's gotten the living crap nailed out of him. Like, this was not like a little soft little, oh, we're going to reduce your rankings, we're going to reduce your impressions. This was a pure spam. Check this out. Pages on this site appear to use aggressive spam techniques such as automatically generated gibberish, cloaking, scraping content from other websites, repeated or egregious violations of Google spam policy. Now, I read his website. It was a beautiful AI generated website, guys. There was nothing in there. So what I want you to understand, me being an old fart who's been in this industry for 25 years, this is the exactly same. In fact, I think the wording might be exactly the same that you would get from an auto blog. Okay, you can go to Fiverr, you can still, and look for auto blog generation creation from like 2000s. I mean, there's some of these Fiverr people and Upwork people that are still stuck in the 90s. Those they use RSS feeds to turn. We were doing all that stuff, guys. I've probably personally published 1 billion pages or more in my career, if you include the video Kraken technology that we built at Network Empire. Okay, so the main thing that I want you guys to understand is that it's the past all over again. It's back to the future. There's nothing new under the sun. There's just iterations. And this iteration is much smarter than the old iteration. The machines are starting to think for themselves. So super intelligent AI, we'll get into the dawn of Q-Star and all these other technologies that are coming very quickly. The reason we rebranded ourselves in this way is because we need you to understand that this is what people miss, okay? Artificial intelligence is going to be used by the corporations first. And the first thing they're going to do with it is to filter for humans, as I've been saying to everybody in Q Miracle. Remember, Q Miracle is all about how to safely and effectively provide information gain. That means useful information that we're going to talk about here in a second for Quora users to get a little bit boost to your website and for your Quora network. Okay, Quora is owned by D'Angelo, Adam D'Angelo, who's still on the board of directors at OpenAI and did not do the musical chairs during the whole AI drama as they all reached for the ring of power. Okay, Adam D'Angelo stayed on the board because his information and basically his Quora system and his Poe AI system is all about artificial intelligence, and it's called an answer engine. Google has trained on these answer engines. Okay, the purchase of Reddit is for an entirely different reason than people actually think. Yes, they can use it as an answer engine to train the model, but Google already has all the training model that they need. There's other reasons why they're doing that. So what I'm trying to tell you is we're going to read today what they're actually saying, and then we're going to what Google's actually saying. My old buddy Danny is over there saying. but then we're going to interpret it what they really mean. We're going to talk about the answer behind the answer when it comes to what Google's really saying, okay? One, here's the questions they're trying to get you to believe they want you to ask. Is the use of automation, including AI generation, self-evident to the visitors through disclosures or in other ways? Okay. In other words, they're asking us, consider these questions about automated content. Google encourages publishers to evaluate at least 3 questions when evaluating how search might treat the use of automation. Okay. This is one way that search can treat the use of automation. Okay. Beautiful content articles written directly by ChatGPT. Another look at beautiful images. Okay. Coming right out of the heart of the new AI image generation. Okay. Still deleted. All right. Are you providing background about how automation or AI generation was used to create content? Okay, in other words, are you talking about it? Are you explaining why automation or AI was seen as useful to produce content? Now, this is very interesting because in our Q Miracle training, we're showing you how my wife and I use AI to simply assist in the creation of information gain, which we're going to talk about here. This is how we're going to close this video today, guys, okay, this training. And if you don't have information gain in your content, and again, I've been talking to people about this for many, many months. Okay, if you don't have information gain as a guiding light, then you're not providing any unique value. It's not even unique content, guys. You could have 1 million websites with unique content, and there would be no information gain. Okay, so think about how meta this is. They're actually telling you that it's fine for you to talk about how you use AI to collaborate and create new novelty. The key word here, guys, is novelty. Novelty in neuroscience is coming up with something new, something that somebody hasn't thought before. Synthesis. Taking idea A with idea B and coming up with a unique idea. We have predicted 5 years ago that Google would actually come up with a way to predict novelty, and they would reward people who have the next best ideas, not the people who have the next best hack. Okay, even when it comes to entity structures and the rest, the ability to come up with knowledge that nobody has ever thought about before and to come up with unique information gain combined with entity stacking, even way, way past topical spam, okay, or topical engineering like Corey and all those other guys teach out there, right? All that stuff is going to catch up with everybody, guys, okay? Now, there's some things that will never change. Okay, Jimmy Kelley and I talk a lot about that. Those are evergreen principles around affordances. Okay, and we'll talk about that more in the inside of the members area. Main thing for you to understand is like be open that the content about what you're doing with the content and how you use AI and humanize some of that content. The big one that I want you guys to note here is if a visitor arrives on your site and it's self-evident to them that this whole website is generated by AI. Like, ask yourself, how do you feel when you go to a website and it obviously looks like nothing but 1,000 images spit out of DALL-E? I know I personally don't know if I'm in a synthetic environment, like a cartoon environment, or if there's anything real on it. Okay, these are all things that they're testing. Okay, so this is a really important point. Like, what is the purpose for this, and how are you using automated content? My suggestion is to do a synthesis by providing information gain, which we'll go over here in a second. Now we're going to read what web creators should know about March 24 core update and new spam policies. I'm going to read this, guys. This is a big deal because I have all these people coming to us. Today we announced the March 2024 update. This is designed to improve the quality of search by showing less content that feels like it was made to attract clicks and more content that people find useful. Okay, what they mean by that, guys, we could go on all day about the ambiguity of that. Okay, I mean, the entire search engine is functionally designed to attract clicks. That's Google's functional purpose. That's how they get paid. But that being said, you can have both. You can have information gain and have that. Novelty should attract clicks by its definition, but we'll go more into that. This is designed to improve the quality of search, right? The March 2024 core update is more complex update than our usual core updates, involving changes to multiple core systems. It also marks an evolution in how we identify the helpfulness of content. Okay, so they focus on helpfulness, not merely novelty. Just as we use multiple systems to identify reliable information, we have enhanced our core ranking systems to show more helpful results using a variety of innovative signals and approaches. There's no longer one signal or system used to do this. We've also added a new FAQ page, which I'm going to leave guys all these links below. As this is a complex rollout, yeah, they're going to be rolling some stuff back, guys. This is a rollout test. The rollout may take up to a month. It's likely there will be more fluctuations in ranking than with a regular core update, you think? As different systems get fully updated and reinforce each other. We'll post to our Google Search Status dashboard when the update is finished. I'll go ahead and post that. Okay. And what's really, really funny is John Mueller posted today that, it hasn't even really started yet. Like they're just beginning this thing, okay? Our spam policies are designed to address practices that negatively impact quality. Okay, so we'll just stop here. But I'll go ahead and post this stuff below. And now we're going to get into the root of what Google says and what they mean. We're going to talk about Google's AI principles, and then we're going to talk about information gain, which I have seen again and again. When I start looking at things through the eyes of the information gain pattern, it starts to make sense. Google is optimistic about the potential of AI, but we recognize that advanced technologies can raise important challenges that must be addressed clearly, thoughtfully, and affirmatively. In tackling these challenges, a set of principles was developed. 1. The content should be socially beneficial. 2. Avoid creating or reinforcing unfair bias. No comment on that one. 3. Be built and tested for safety. 4. Be accountable to people. 5. Incorporate privacy design principles. 6. Uphold high standards of scientific excellence, which, by the way, when it comes to information gain and the rest, this gets very tricky. 7. Be made available for uses that accord with these principles. Okay? So in other words, on this page, they're talking about what they deem to be not helpful or content that may be accurate but not gainful or helpful. Additionally, below, they're asking you to disclose the use of AI and not turn it into a autoblog or posting so much content that's fake that they're just flooding their directories. One of the black hats that I talked to, who is like one of the best black hats in the world that I know, I do not do any black hat techniques, by the way, but I talk to them because they're the ones that are crazy enough to hammer the living crap out of these systems, says that for him, it was looking like they've dumped 30 to 50% of their index. Okay, like they're in the forums, they're actually talking about Google is just purging. If you think about the trillions of articles that have been uploaded over the last 15 years, it would make sense that now they roll out. Is it a coincidence that they've rolled out Gemini and the recent one all at the same time, where they're doing a purge and they're rolling out one of the most advanced AIs in the world that's arguably smarter than OpenAI at the same time? It's not really a coincidence. Okay, they're integrating all of these systems, and as Jason Bernardo said, and I'm talking about, Google is going to become mature enough to start making decisions for itself about because they finished training the model. Google is going to be smart enough to determine for itself whether these principles, Google's AI principles, are actually met. And let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Google has to make money, guys, and they make money by people being attracted to novelty, information gain, and useful facts. And it's other people's writing about useful facts that causes their ads to pop, and those ads popping and people clicking on them is how their shareholders get paid. So at the end of the day, your useful content is their paid content. So what they really mean is they want the ads to attract the clicks and the content to simply be not socially intolerable and not be unfair in its bias and not distract people from clicking the ads. Like, make no mistake, that's where this is going as they begin to filter for humans. So if you look at what's really going on, the problem behind the problem and the question behind the question, we're going to be talking about information gain. Okay, humanizing content. Recently, we've seen a massive explosion of discussions and forums popping up. So again, that's why we have Q Miracle, where we teach how to use Quora and answer engines in an effective and useful way to be helpful to other people and also helpful for people that might want information from your website. Okay, so this is really part of it. You're going to see we've seen an increase of social websites like Twitter and all the big social media platforms become a huge part of helping the rankings, not only for your Google business profile. Notice that Google added social profiles to the bottom of the Google business profile local, while at the same time killing the free entity website that they gave to every Google profile in the world. For the last 15 years, actually more like 10 years, people got a free website, a free local website attached to their Google business profile. That was ripped asunder They yanked the carpet out from everybody, and they took that away. Why? Because SEOs ruin everything. Okay, when you give somebody an entity, you give somebody a website that's attached to an entity, really smart SEOs can manipulate that, and that ruins the model where their revenue model, where Google business profiles and ads and service ads, again, there's been a massive explosion in revenue for the service ad department over the last 2 months in Google Local as they've completely torn away those free websites that are tied to Google business profile. And guys, the bloodbath is only beginning, okay? But you can immunize yourself from this if you understand the use of artificial intelligence and what I call synthesis with information gain. So what is information gain? Information gain, first of all, let's go ahead and pull up the original article. And our old buddy Bill Slofsky, who died tragically a couple years back, he broke down this patent. It's here, US 2020, 81AA, A1. In this patent, most of the scenarios given to calculate information gain scores are done after subsequent queries or document views and search results views. It's a learning process specific to an individual or to the topic they're searching about. And I'm going to leave a link to Bill's technical breakdown because he really was interested in this, okay? Bill and I were originally talking about co-occurrence as far back as 2002. Okay, co-occurrence, semantic indexing, and latent semantic indexing. We were really excited about that. That's why I launched a whole company on it based on Bruce Clay's suggestion. Arguably the father of SEO, encouraged me to go launch a company on it. At that time, we didn't have knowledge graphs. We weren't training, Google wasn't training the model based on, Freebase, and all these other things that they used to train. They had humans train the original model so that they can automate the entire thing off of the back of humans. That's how they trained the model. Okay, so if you look at what this is, it's an identify a first set of documents that share a topic provided by a user and have been viewed by the user. Identify a second set of documents that also share the topic that has not been viewed by the user. This is amazing, guys. If you really get this, you're going to understand why Jimmy Kelley and my methods work so well combined with how to get humans to engage with that content, okay? The third phase is determine an information gain score for each of these documents of the second set, okay? How much information will be gained? And then select a new document from the second set based on the information gain score, and then present information extracted from the selected new document to the user. Now, I'm going to do my best to put this in layman terms, and I'm going to roll this out in a scenario, but let me give it to you like this. There is amazing content with completely novel ideas and amazing scientific discoveries and amazing articles, footnotes, scientific discoveries, insights that never see the light of day on the first page of Google. Okay? That's all about to change. Why? Why do great ideas, unique writers, novelty-based scientists who have come up with completely new ideas, in other words, like a TED Talk or like somebody who's coming up with something entirely different, it's not always good, but it might be novel, unique, and information, those might never see the light of day because SEOs ruin everything. In that sense, I'm not saying optimizing your website is bad or search engine optimization is bad. I'm saying that over-optimization and spamming for those high-volume ideas to insert your content there, regardless of information gain, is what they're actually warring against. So what you'll see in this update is information that is new, that is providing value, that has never been seen before, can then be integrated. They're actually going to become more sophisticated in their algorithm to see if novelty, information, and insight, it's literally an insight algorithm, was gained. If people aren't offering new insights, if we go back to what they were saying, what social value does that content actually have? Okay, so when we go back to what we're looking at with social value, let me see if I can find it. Whether you believe Google or not on these things, social benefit, again, this is very subjective, but even if you look at it pure mechanistically, social value is whether or not insight. If you don't have multiple types of insight and you leave all of the value of information based only on the spammers, you're not providing information gain. Let's go a little bit more into information gain. And Bill talked about this a long time ago. Google is giving leeway for information gain scores to be calculated. This is where we're talking about right here. Provide a score. Okay, and we'll get into what that actually looks like and means. Um, the need for the first set of documents to calculate the information gain score may become obsolete in the future. Yes, because AI. So what's happening right now, very likely, is the processing power as Google the child and adolescent becomes Google the adult, the ability to think for itself, it's going to be able to apparently skip those processes. Using language learning models and using neural networks, it'll be able to instantaneously determine the value, not based on Markov sequences, on-page and off-page optimizations, or even entity stacking that allows them to collect and control the main ideas in order to steer pay-per-click values across their shareholders' networks, right? It's also going to be able to ascertain whether or not the writing of your website provides anything new, novel, socially valuable, and or more importantly, provides insight into the topic. Okay, this is what's very interesting because a friend of ours, David Mills, talks about true intelligence. And our friends Luke and Carradine over at True Intelligence Agency, this is what we're really saying. Information gain algorithm is really an insight game, or really trying to emulate true intelligence in that sense. And I'm going to blow this up because this is the key. For those of you who are like, stop ranting and just tell me what this means. Okay. How does information gain affect search engine rankings? Has a way of calculating how unique your content is from the rest of the content in that topic or area. And here's the problem I have with this article from Search Engine Land. It's not merely and only unique. We've been talking about unique content for the last 20 years, okay? There's all kinds of unique content that has no insight or novelty. Okay, in fact, you can have unique content that's just uniquely the same. Okay, this is the hardest thing to get across, and we're going to actually provide a lot more information on this. So what a better way to say this would be, has a way of calculating how much insight there is in your content compared to the rest of the unique content in that area. Guys, let's blow that up. I'm sure that some of you guys will email me and say, you didn't really explain that very well. Well, we'll keep trying, okay? Part of me is I'm just trying this out on you because being years in this industry, it's not an easy thing to explain. And those of you who like reading patents, read this patent and then go back to OpenAI and, and all the other technologies, Anthropic, look at all these language learning models, and then go back to the conversation I had with artificial intelligence, the early 3.5 and 4.0 versions, where I actually had a long conversation with AI about novelty. And language learning models are 100% able to detect dopamine set points or novelty. Okay, we'll get into that as well. So it also has to have a metric to actively promote or demote content based on the level of difference or sameness. The level of difference or sameness. Now here's where it gets crazy, guys, and maybe some of you will have a better way of explaining this, and I'm good with that. Okay, you can have content that's completely unique, but the information gain is zero, meaning nobody else has these exact words on the page in this exact order. Okay, it's completely unique content from a Markovian generator point of view, but it's completely the same. Okay, it's just a different way with different characters in combination of saying exactly the same thing. So 100% in the old standard school of SEO, unique content, but it provides zero information gain and zero insight, provides no added value to the overall topic theme of that niche, of that entity, of that topic, or of that idea. Okay? So the information, by the way, do you think this is related to discussions and forums and why all of a sudden they pop up everywhere? I'm going to try to find an example of discussions and forums for you. Okay, if I can. You know, if you look on your phone, you're going to see Quora discussions and forums pop up all over the place, which is why I teach my students to write excellent articles with information gain to help people, you know, articles for humans. It's all very ironic. Google is on Team Robot, but they only want people using Google and writing for Google to be on Team Human because then the Google robot gains. Okay? So the information score suggests a new algorithm, element targeting AI generated content and new content farms. Okay? In other words, this is an amazing way to deal with people that are merely providing unique content. In other words, they're saying, okay, in the past, Markov unique content, things like spin rewriter, article forge, insert all the different content gibberish generators here, or even the remixers that were just, for example, spin rewriter, all that spin rewriter did that people used for 10 years, and I know those guys, all it did was take an article and create 5,000 versions of that article. 5,000 versions of that article is zero information gain. Does that make sense? Be SEOized. It's a black hat software. I know about that stuff. People are using GSA to do backlinks, and guys, I've been there, done that. I know the black hats, white hats, gray hats, no hats. Okay, but information gain, even back in the day, talking to Bill Slawski, even as far back before Danny was, Matt Cutts was still the spam director. Okay, an amazing thing is language learning models are uniquely equipped to quickly calculate and compute the information gain of large document sets. Okay, of large document sets. What this means is that this old model of spinning out 100,000 articles and then spinning them so that they're all 100% unique, think about what a language learning is over. Think about what a language learning model does. A language learning model is not merely an autocomplete. A language learning model, OpenAI, no matter how advanced, no matter what the token window is, whether it's 1,000 or the new one is Gemini, and then there's Gemma, I think her name is, is a new one that just launched 4 days ago. They're testing her with 1,000,000 token window. That means inside this Google search window, okay, right here, you can put 1,000,000 characters. It would be as if you had an affordance or a search engine box that was 1,000,000 that you could put 1,000,000 words in, rough, give or take. Okay. Now nobody searches like that because they're just looking for something quickly. But when it comes to being able to take the whole book, War and Peace, and read it in less than 5 seconds, and then answer any question about it, that's what we're talking about here, guys. We're talking about simultaneous intelligence across neural networks and natural learning models, where the token window to ask a question and deal with everything in that question is less than 5 seconds, and the information is instant. Additionally, language learning models can detect information gain. In other words, they can read the entire Library of Congress in a couple of days and determine what the best new or novel, it's very subjective, I know, but where the pockets of information gain actually are where humans are not. Let me give you another example. Okay? Another example would be the protein folds that recently were discovered using Protein Go or Go Fold or something like that. I can't remember what Google called it. They were able to find humans have been working on the problem, solving the problem of folding proteins for 12 years. The problem that 10 humans had been working on, and then an additional crew of 100 or more had been working on for over 10 years, was solved overnight, guys. That's called information gain. In other words, they solved the problem or a problem or added value to the solution of that problem. Okay, that would be information gain. Now, what's scary about this for SEOs who don't provide value or don't teach how to write value, which is why one of the training courses we have created actually teaches people how to use AI to provide information gain. In other words, come up with something novel and new rather than just a gigantic autoblog system from 2005 that spits out articles every hour with videos and images in order to attract a click. In other words, novelty baiting or clickbaiting through videos or even entertainment or edutainment baiting. Those are all things we built, guys. We built the system. But this thing is coming. Okay, this thing is coming. Consequently, content, I've talked to some of the engineers, content might be demoted if it lacks uniqueness, if it consists of different words arranged differently. Guys, this is content remix. Skyscraper content could be part of this targeted demotion. Okay, everybody I hope knows what skyscraper content is. Okay, skyscraper content is focused on relevant search keywords or hot subjects, providing in-depth material that drives traffic shares and backlinks. Okay, skyscraper content is just this idea that you're going to create everything you possibly can under the sun about it or some kind of infographic. But the main thing to understand about skyscraper content is it's not at all about information gain. Okay, it's only about a relevant search term and getting as much information that's already out there in different places, probably already in the index, but doesn't provide any unique insight or information gain. Have I said it? Okay, because guys, I'm seeing evidence that this is here in a myriad of ways. And the more you understand about what a language learning model is and what a search engine is, the more you're going to see that Venn diagram overlap. Okay? The information gain score and helpful content systems are forcing innovation where there's currently a sea of perfectly optimized content. Okay? Perfectly optimized content. So getting out, I'm going to close with this. Getting out of the model of perfection and over optimization. It's not even over optimization, it's lack of anything new. And it's not just lack of new on your website, it's lack of new within the topic on the entirety of the web. We predict that where things are going to go, and we predicted this as much as 5 years ago, is that writers and thinkers who provide insight are going to win the long-term search engine battle in many cases. Not all, but many cases. Okay? It's not merely and only about being helpful. Think about what Google's saying. You better write helpful content or we're not going to index it because only helpful content gets our paid ads in the frame or the golden frame around your content to get impressions, and we need clicks on those. All right, great. So basically, they want like super helpful content. There has been some discussion on the Black Hat forums that this is a war on the small publisher. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's a war on publishers that don't provide any insight or who are just pompous brand perpetuations. Okay, brands also are going to need to provide, even with their own brand frames, content that has information gain about the brand. But if your topic is your brand and you continually provide insight about your products and services, that's actually of service, and that's not really difficult to write. In fact, some of our original prompts to ChatGPT were 100%, which we have still, were 100% about novelty. Please create this article around this subject. Here's the token, the token window. Here's all the topics about the brand. I actually have a prompt where we actually said, what novelty or information gain and insight can you provide around this topic relevant to what we've already written? Where can we take this topic next? Boom. You can still spit out articles. Boom. You can still provide insights. And then you have to have a human confirm that it's accurate. And then you just make sure that the insight matches your brand values and equity, and then you publish it. And none of those content functions that we have, guys, have been hit because it's about your brand, and nobody knows your brand and your vision as great as you do. And then you can just provide insight. And as you continue to roll out ideas, you're going to want to have those be information gain based ideas. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and leave it here. And we're going to talk more and more about information gain over the next month. You're going to be hearing about it for months because this last update has revealed to me that information gain is a huge part. When you combine Jimmy Kelley's entity SEO model with the knowledge of what Google is doing with pay-per-click, with a deeper understanding, with an information gain state of mind, okay, guys, if you take this long term, you're going to win. Just know I don't like being right about all this stuff. Sometimes it's inconvenience, but oftentimes I am. And we're going to see an advanced form of information gain, which is simply a novelty matrix where the language learning models in real time will be able to detect if you're just spewing out more of the same, if you're just remixing. And by the way, you can even remix with Claude, Bard, Gemini, all these things. If you don't handle it right, if you don't do your prompt engineering right, you're going to spit out much of the same. In fact, if you don't handle a prompt engineer stack correctly, the prompts are just going to spit out the same stuff that everybody else is. You have to ask the prompts to create information gain. You have to generate information gain with proper prompt engineering, which we're going to teach much, much more in Q Miracle training. Find the link below. Or actually, this will probably be mostly for our inside members. But we would like you to join because, again, Q Star is here, guys. And Q Star is the ultimate solution labyrinth artificial intelligence, or AGI, which is why we call ourselves super intelligent AI. And it's going to be leading you to use Q-Star and this war over labyrinth solving hyperintelligence or superintelligence to filter for humans. Google is going to filter for humans, okay? They don't want everybody else to be robots. They want to be the only robot in town, okay? But if you understand information gain and what Jimmy Kelley and I are doing with all of our entity technologies, you'll be able to have the best of both worlds, solve for Q, okay, Q star, while at the same time using advanced AI techniques, while also having some of the most information gain rich content in the world. We look forward to seeing you on the inside of Q Miracle. Thanks for letting me rant, guys. There's a huge bloodbath going on, so I wanted to make sure that I at least addressed it. Thanks, guys.